Hello, 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 Jumbo, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Machanja Boys podcast. So, we definitely have to be sensitive to the times and whatnot.
I was called an N-word yesterday, like very casually, by this
Damn.
old cowboy kind of guy. I just looked at the guy and I just walked off, I just walked off.
And it was so hard for me, man, because I'm just like, bro, you know me. And people could have killed themselves. And, hopefully we'll continue to just drop more gems, give you guys what you didn't know you needed. I think that's the tagline now, bro. It has organically created itself. Hello, 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 Jumbo, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Machanja Boys podcast. Now, we do apologize. Last week, we did not drop a podcast. We did record, but just like in the case of Michael Jackson, we had to put that in the archives. For one reason or another, but you guys will understand in the future. But we'll definitely drop that in the future. So we definitely have to be sensitive to the times and whatnot. But again, it does not take away from our authentic nature. It just shows you how far we want to go with some of the things. But of course, we're cognizant of the times we live in. So today, we'll definitely jump into another part. Again, my name is Kuya. For anybody who's joining us for the first time, and I'll let my brother introduce himself real quick.
What's going on, fam? Thank you, like my brother said, for joining us again. We are excited to keep having these conversations and just connecting with people out there and, opening up, talking about things from a different perspective that maybe it's not in the mainstream. Super excited, bro. Mekaribishwa tena. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that means you're welcome.
You're welcome, fam. Well, hopefully people are going to learn the little, I don't know, a little mixture of Swahili and English, What's the,
Swanglish.
how would you say, like the version of Spanglish, right? It's like
Yeah.
sprinkle in a little bit,
Yeah, dude, folks actually do know a lot of Swahili, right? If you watch the Lion King, bro, that's my thing. I'm like, man, you definitely know some Swahili,
Yeah,
You
I
know
do that too.
Simba,
Yeah,
Jambo,
yeah. Rafiki,
yeah, Rafiki.
yeah.
What's the other one?
Genzi.
Hakuna Matata, like, yes, Hakuna Matata, boss. So
It's a
everybody knows
phrase
a
that
little bit of
nobody
Swahili.
uses, by the way. It's
Exactly. So, man, today, bro, hopefully we can do maybe like a lighter pod, Again, well, unfortunately, folks didn't see last episode, but it was a heavy pod in terms of yada, yada, yada. But today, maybe we can go a little bit lighter, man. I was just thinking, this world that we live in today, man, there's just so much going on, right? And so,
yeah.
actually, my heart pours out to all the people who've lost their lives when it comes to, wars. We know that Iran is happening, Gaza happened. We know Sudan, some stuff is happening there. Eritrea,
Lebanon.
Ethiopia, you guys are trying to start some crazy stuff out there. Congo, there's always something happening there. Folks in Ukraine, Russia. So there's a lot of just war going on around the world and a lot of instability. So, when it comes to people who are losing their lives and getting affected by these things, truly we do. Our heart pours out to you guys. And so that's not something that we want to poo-poo or say that we don't want to touch on. Today, maybe we can go just a little bit lighter, amidst all this stuff, Usala, just going on. How do you kind of like keep your head straight, man, when it comes to, because I know we love politics. We love to understand what's happening on the global stage. We're into business, so we have to understand what's happening politically. But how do you kind of just keep your head in the game with like, positivity? And like, hey, man, this day is going to be better than the last day, and then, the next day. And then, how do you kind of bring that forth? Because I think we talked about it yesterday on our pre-pod stuff on Thursday, but we didn't pod obviously. But how do you kind of just stay positive, bro? Because you can definitely get down in the dumps, but that's not where we need to stay. So how do you do it? And then I can definitely jump on like some of the techniques that I use as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think, again, same for you, all my prayers and thoughts go out to the families of the people who've lost their lives out there right now. It's just unfortunate thing that's happening in our world, and I can definitely sense a lot of anxiety everywhere. I actually was out yesterday. I live in like a pretty suburban place. Kind of well-to-do or whatever, but I went out in my local, like there's like a little pub here to get a bite and a drink, and yeah, I was called an N-word yesterday, like very casually, by this
Damn.
old cowboy kind of guy. Yeah. And I was with a young lady, and she was incensed. I mean, she was like, "What the f is this?" Blah blah. Uh, and I usually I don't really don't take stuff, you know. I'm quick to defend myself or people that I care about. At the same time, the climate is so volatile right now. You have to be very careful because things go from 0 to 100,
Mhm.
and people feel justified now in this environment to say very hateful things. And, 5 years ago, that would have turned into something completely ugly. And would you believe it? I just looked at the guy and I just walked off, I just walked.
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
I'm not going to give my agency to anybody else to get me out of my state. I have a family, I have children that I care for. I got a business, I got my extended family, I have a lot of people. So I have to think twice now before I approach things, and I have an end goal, I got things that I need to see through. So I always kind of just I always remember what I'm doing. What am I doing? What I'm doing and who I'm doing it for. I always try to just keep that in mind. But lately, one thing that's been really working for me, some people really enjoy going to church, praying, things like that. I've really been into meditation and self talk. And I told you actually, I've been getting into instead of thinking about things negative all the time or even watching or listening to negative things, even music that's kind of negative. You don't understand how these things affect your brain, your mental health, even though other things that we do are more cognizant or more accepted in society. So, for instance, we're told, make sure you're working out, eat right. If you're sick, go to the hospital. So all these physical things, but nobody talks about mental health, and it's very real. And it's the one thing that's driving everything. And so you can't really go out there into the world and do anything amazing until you know that you love yourself and you're at peace with yourself. So I'm in
Yeah.
the pursuit of peace in this season of my life, and uh, a lot of meditation, a lot of self talk, positive talk, being around the right people, and shedding those friends or even family that are going to be negative or want to take you down. People who are conniving don't have any positive intent for you. And we know people like this in our families. And it's like you don't need energy like that, and of course, working out is so important, go lift something heavy, definitely lift something heavy, get out in nature, find pockets of people to talk to at least once a week, and then keep the main thing, bro. I really try to control the things that I can, the things that I can't, I leave that out, because what is that going to help me, ruminating over something that hasn't happened or will never happen or has already happened,
Yep.
easier said than done, but I think those are some of the ways, and man, good food, right? Good food. Also, bro, a lot of sleep, man.
Hey, man.
At least 8 hours of sleep. I don't mess around with my sleep anymore. I put my work phone away, 4:30 Friday, it's over, okay? When I'm with my kids, my phone is away, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
be present. We're the first generation that we're gonna have more memories of other people's lives than our own lives,
Yep.
We're just stuck on social media watching other people, whatever they're doing, so and I'm guilty of that too, by the way. So I'm not like sitting here doing a wag of the finger.
Love it, bro. Love it, love it. I mean, those all those things make a lot of sense. We're very similar in many, many things for sure. So I think everything that you say is just truly vibes with me, man. I'd say something that I want to, so a personal story for me, man. And I think you know this about me, bro. But the folks may not know this about me. But being a dad for me, I wanted to be a dad so bad, bro, because it was like, dude, it was just something that I really felt like I needed in my life. And
Yeah.
so the good thing with being a dad is that there's no return policy on this shit. So yeah, get it, yeah, got it, And so once we got our boy, during the pandemic, right? So everything was shut down, and dude, I was at the best weight of my life. I was exercising every day. I was feeling great. Baby comes, man, you're like, this is amazing. Your schedule gets ruined. You're like, this is crazy. You can't sleep. To your point, you're not eating right.
This is crazy.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like what's going on? And so, literally put on like, 70 pounds, bro, after the boy was born. Low key, not even low key, to your point about mental health, man, definitely got depressed, man. I think like I'm the one who had postpartum depression when RMK came to life. And it was so hard for me, man, because I'm just like, bro, you know me. I like to have control of like I'm very systematic. I do the same things every day. I like that routine. It really calms my nerves. There's no anxiety around that. But then with the baby, you don't even know when the kid is sleeping, waking up. So while we built that structure with him, which is fantastic, I had many, many years there, man, when I was just not myself. I was just not happy. I was thinking to myself, man, like, damn, is this life? Like, how can this be like my new life? I just felt like mentally, bro, literally I just felt like this was not my life, man. That because I'm like, how can like I can't see my friends because pandemic, number two, the baby, you can't really do stuff. I don't have a schedule. Um, you're tired all the time, you're overweight, you're not working out. So everything is just going down, down, down. And so that period for me was really, really tough. And so I'd say that period with being a dad, that helped me though, because what I ended up doing was just accepting, like, dude, this is literally like the greatest responsibility that God has ever granted you. And you just have to accept it and be content and be happy. And once my mind shift changed, man, I love my boy, bro. You know it. Don't even have to say it. Fatherhood really has changed me and given me a new perspective in life, man. Because I'm just like, dude, if I can be a dad and like that whole thing could have completely ruined me. Some people would have gone into drugs, alcohol, whatever the hell. Some people could have killed themselves. It's not an easy thing. And so for me, being able to kind of change my mind and be able to come to this place where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it can be challenging some days, but what you always tell me, Lasala, is that, it's hard because we're doing the right things. Like if you were not doing the right things, it wouldn't be hard. You'd be like just cruising through life where it's like, I don't care what the kid is doing. iPad babies, YouTube babies, but we don't do that. We make sure that, we're taking care of our kids, making sure that we have a good routine, making sure they're eating right, they're getting exercise, they're getting to see the world. You took your kids for a little vacation, mini vacation the other day. We're taking our son to Kenya this year. And so we sacrifice everything for the family to make sure that, the kid grows up well. And then, for me, I actually get a lot of enjoyment from it now where, I can see my boy super happy. That makes me happy. He's calm, he's relaxed, he's having fun. And so I think being able to accept your situation and say, man, is this really a bad situation? For me, it's not. It's actually a great situation. But some folks, even if you're in a bad situation, you should still say, okay, this is like what I'm at. I think a different example would be like work, right? Some people get into jobs, you're like, holy crap, what am I doing here every day? But you have to be content sometimes. Not that you don't do anything about the situation, but once you accept it and say, okay, this is where I'm at, your mind changes a little bit. You start putting positivity out into that situation, into the world. And then things just start getting better. It just gets a little bit rosier. It just looks a little bit brighter. And, you create better relationships. You're learning different things. And so I'd say for me, bro, my son has made me understand life so differently, and it's allowed me to just be a better person. So like deal with different circumstances. I'm like, it's cool, man. Just like with the situation with that person calling you the N word, that is aggravating. But then you're like, if your reaction to this thing, what outcome do you want out of it? Do you want to go home in handcuffs,
Right.
in operation, or do you want to just maintain your peace and be like, this guy's an idiot, and because the guy's an idiot. And so he's probably going to look like an idiot to himself or his girl or whoever, just like, oh, well, that didn't go anywhere. So it's probably trying to provoke you as well. And so I love that, man. Last thing I think, folks, just let go, man. Just you got burdens, you got people like Lusala said who are even in the family or friends who are negative. Just let the F go. You'll be happier for it, man. And so I think those are some, more personal stories that, again, hopefully folks appreciate because, we know everybody's going through something, man. And we just want to say that, of course, we're also going through stuff. We're just human, just like you. And there's really nothing special about anybody's experience as long as because somebody is truly going through the same situation or even worse, and some people of course are going better, but a little bit about that, bro.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. I think, one of the things that I'm proud of us for, Kuya, is, we, my brother and I, we talk, so we don't have many secrets between us, and we talk about things that maybe we don't talk about to anybody else.
Yeah.
And everybody needs a person like that, and that's part of the reason we started this channel, is like a sense of community, especially for men, um, because we're taught that being a man and what manhood is to be tough and hard and not show your emotion.
Mhm.
Speaking about your children, your child, and thinking about my kids also changed me for the best, and the biggest thing for me was that these children have got me to realize that the vulnerable part of a man is actually the strongest part of him, because to be able to be empathetic to something that's not happening to you is a deep spiritual tie and actually makes people feel seen and loved in a way that I never realized.
Yep.
And my children have really come to make me see like, oh, they need to see me be emotional. They need to see me like I don't need to be some sort of stoic person because they see that I'm
Yep.
human, and then I
Yep.
connect with them more, and it helps
Yep.
them be healthier instead of them going out there and looking for weird things in life. We are able to experience all the good and bad together. And I think that's one of the biggest things right now going, talking about depression, being alone, and all these kind of things, is because we're not isolated animals. We're not meant to live like that. But, you can see it in a lot of American neighborhoods, nobody's outside. You go into these
Bro.
neighborhoods, it's a very strange feeling. You're like, do people live here? You see the
Yep.
cars, okay, you're like, okay. But
Yep.
apart from that, nobody's outside. So for me, at my house, you know what I do, Kuya? I'm like, I go get the neighbors' kids, all the other neighbors' kids. I'll have the food going,
Mhm.
let the kids tear up the house, let them play around. You know what I mean? That's what they need to be doing. And they're happier for it. And we're happier for it because we actually can get a break and they're getting to understand how to be cognitively astute going forward.
Others,
So
yeah, with your
it's just,
peers,
I
yeah.
think those things are important, even, for us. So, and you're talking about habits and all those things. It's very important. I think what you're talking about, how you've done things to kind of help yourself is now also understanding. I've told you that I've been looking into quantum physics, and I think people, it looks very menacing and stuff, but it explains a lot, like how we are, and explains a lot about how we're going through time and
Mm,
the concept of it, and it just opens your mind up to understand that you need to really clean this up here and be protected, and you need to be around the same kind of people in the vibration that you're willing to go, because otherwise the world doesn't care if you're good or bad. In fact, the world rewards bad people more than good people. We can see that the people who are running the world are a bunch of pedophiles and like racist bigots and sexist. I mean, it's just murderers and pedophiles. I mean, it's just absolute disgusting you know
yep, yep,
yeah, you
yep.
you need to go into different vibrations, and sometimes that's why I I'll make this point, Kuya. I think sometimes when people are going through a tough time, they're so bogged down and they don't wanna believe that they're going the right way. You're trying to be reborn to go a different direction, which means you're gonna receive some resistance. That means that is the way you need to go. You know what I
Yep,
mean? Like
yep.
you have the ability, you just have to take the step. So it's almost like when you go and talk in front of people and your body just is like you feel that nervousness in your chest. It's your body actually kind of giving you a little applause. It's like, oh my God, we are about to do something exciting. It's
Mhm.
train your mind and you'll see that a lot of things within you, that your thoughts will really drive everything, and you really need discipline, because if you don't follow a disciplined way of life, you start being disappointed in yourself because you're not keeping your own promises to yourself. The
Mhm.
good thing is we
Mhm.
have tomorrow. The good
Yeah.
thing is you wake up tomorrow and you get to try again. That's the most important thing. It's okay. Like you said, let go. Let go of that shit. It was yesterday, bro. It was 50 years ago. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going
Mhm.
to be drinking poison, hoping someone else dies. Let it go and live your best life.
Bro, I love it, man. I think, a couple of points. The the situation, like, we're when it comes to socializing, we're definitely a little bit opposite with that because, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
everybody in my house, I don't. But I'll tell you what, though, if I get doses of that, I love it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. And that's something that I miss a lot in Dallas, bro. Dallas, actually, compared to Ohio,
Yeah.
I think is a horrible community based city, or maybe where I'm living. I don't know, man. Maybe like, where, our cousin lives over there in Forney and whatnot. That might be a better community because it has more Africans and whatnot. But this place here where we live, I'm in Prosper, bro. Like, to your point, nobody's out, bro. And even my son's school, we've not been invited to any kids' birthday parties. I'm like, bro, that is so weird. Because
That's
in
super strange.
Ohio, bro, we had a community, we had a group chat going, bro. I love, actually, now in retrospect, I'm like, we had a great community for our kid
Yeah.
because like he had his friends, and he loved his friends, and like like the parents would meet up just on a random Saturday. We would
Yes.
create like if we are doing like a soccer league, we'd create like our own soccer league where it's like it's our kids that know each other, that they go to the soccer
Yeah.
league and play and have fun. And then after that, do a little lunch situation, do a little happy hour situation with other parents. You can bitch about
So
your
much
kids and
fun.
their spouses. Perfect. But Dallas, bro, so far, I'm like, man, this place is extremely isolating. Our neighbors, bro, they don't come out. They don't say shit to you. They don't talk to you. When we moved in, nobody came to say anything. In Ohio, man, those little kids would be across the pond like, "Hey, Riri," I'm like, "Well, okay, this is nice," I mean, I don't
Yeah,
wanna talk to you, but my kid is happy with, because kids are kids, and so I really miss that, man. And then the other point that I had, I think I forgot what I was gonna say, but it'll
okay.
come back at some point. But I
Yeah,
mean, brother, I think you're onto, ah, the human thing, Lusala, as you were talking about. That's the other point I wanted to make. Human beings inherently don't want to do hard things, so the way, the way I was going to say the way we grew up, but historically, the way that the human body is, it only wants to conserve energy. It's like, okay, I will only spend energy when it's needed, fight or flight. That is the
when
core
it's
of who
necessary.
we are as a human being. So,
Yeah,
to your point with like, we don't want to do things that are outside of our comfort zone, because it's like, why would I spend energy going to go for a walk?
yeah,
You need it because it's good for you. You'll actually feel better after the fact. You want to sit down and watch TV because you're getting a dopamine hit. You want to be on TikTok because you're getting a dopamine hit. And so your brain is tricking you to being like, okay, this is actually more comfortable. Like,
yeah,
I'm happier scrolling through this stuff, kind of looking at other people's BS and, just getting a joy out of it, as opposed to being like, okay, let me actually build my community. Let me build my health. Let me go out and do something that is a little bit more challenging. So it's like an inherent thing where you're fighting against each other. What we need to do is go back to the mindset, bro. You have to accept, yes, that is like the default setting, but I do enjoy working out. I do enjoy talking to my brother. I do enjoy going for long walks. I do enjoy reading a book. And so you're like rewiring your own code, And so I'd say we have all the power, man. And even like with the pod, bro, we didn't pod on Thursday, but we showed up.
showed
We were
up.
like, okay,
Yeah,
let's do it. And this week I've been a little bit off. I'm like, bro, I'm just so out of it. I just kind of want to chill.
yeah.
Yeah, there's really I
The
don't
brain
wanna
said
do
no.
anything. Yeah, but then when you do something that's enjoyable, like, doing this podcast, bro, you start having fun, man, and that's the thing,
Yeah,
like, with working out. You don't wanna go to the gym, but, man, when you go in there, the dopamine hits that you actually enjoy it, and so I'd encourage you to kinda get out of the comfort zones and, just be out in the world, man. Like, we're all human beings and get off the phones, even though you are probably watching this on a phone. But ultimately get out, have fun, mingle with other people, and life will just be that X amount better, man.
yeah. I love that. I think that sometimes people don't realize that our brains are created to protect us, right? They're not your
Yes.
friend. They are
Yep.
here to completely protect you. And so,
Built for
exactly.
efficiency, bro.
Yes, and it's like, what's the fastest, easiest route from A to B? You
Bro,
go
that's
that,
dude.
you
That's
know?
it, Lusala.
Yeah,
Fastest, easiest. That's it.
that's it.
That's
Yeah.
what it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can tell that if you don't believe that, you can tell, like, look at children, look at children what they do. They drop a wrapper somewhere and they know they're supposed to go and pick it up and go take it there. You know what they do instead? They put it under the chair. So long as I don't see it. I don't see it.
It doesn't
It's like,
exist.
bro,
Yep.
what are you doing? And
Yep.
so you're like, are you an idiot? It's like, no, actually, their brain is working right. The brain is
Yep.
like, this because the brain is like, we got to go over here. We don't have time to go over there. And it's like, yeah, you do. You have the time. Okay. So it's creating habits, and those formidable years for the kids are just so important, man. I think it's the first like 7 years are critical for a
Yep.
child. The
Yep.
programming they receive is out of control. So I think people don't understand when you're sitting around on a couch and you want to go work out, but you can't get yourself off the couch. That's what your brain going, we're safe, we're
Yep.
good, we're
Yep.
comfortable, we're
Yep.
happy here.
Yep.
Why do you want to disrupt that? So you know what I mean? So you just sit there and you can sit on the couch for 8 hours, and you're like,
Good.
"I'm good."
Yeah.
To your
Yeah.
point, you have to create new neurons, create those habits, and do something small. Okay, fine. You can go to the gym that day. Do it 15 minutes. Fine. Just do 15 at your house. You know what I mean? Go to YouTube, turn it on. You know, just do it. You'll see. Bite the apples. Take small bites to the apple, right? And like, something simple. Fine, I'll go do the dishes. Or you know what? I'll just clean that table, okay?
Yep.
Today. Okay?
Yep.
Just wake up every morning and try to do something different. And I think that's what really separates people who are successful and people who kind of get stuck somewhere below. It's because you're just kind of reprogramming yourself all the time. Oh my gosh, hang on.
No worries, bro. Bless you. Bless you. Sheesh.
Excuse me.
Nah, you good,
Yeah, yeah.
man.
But that's I think that's a huge thing. And community is also a huge thing because I'm the same way. We are energy. People don't hang out with people who take away from you. Leave those people alone. They're
Mm.
ruining your mental state. You can't sleep. You're up in the middle of the night. Blah blah blah. Drink lots of water. Just like basic things. But energy is so important to me right now. If I don't feel right about something, I'm gonna exclude myself. And I'm the same too. Like I love my alone time. So sometimes our other brother comes over and he's like, "I'm coming to visit." I'm like, "That no, I don't feel like doing this today." He comes anyways, and I'm like, King Kenyans, bro, you know? I'm like, "Oh, Lord," But then after a while, you're like, "Oh, man, this is good. I needed this," like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
yeah,
this is so good, alright," you know? And then just the ability to read a room, sometimes I go hang out with him and I'm like, "Alright, I think it's time to go," Like, I think these people have had enough. And that's okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that I don't love you anymore. Just respect yourself to respect other people as well, and
yes, sir.
remember to be kind to yourself, man. We're so
Mhm, mhm.
hard on ourselves, bro. And thankfully I had children just to understand that, and they've taught me more. Sometimes I feel like they're teaching me more than I'm teaching them, type
Yep,
of situation.
I think so too, man.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
interesting. You wouldn't think that, but especially when you see how much they're absorbing from you, it really pushes you to be very strategic and think about how you're going through life.
dude, absolutely. I think that
Yeah.
that kind of segues real nice into maybe our last little mini topic here. It's just about being a father and a leader, man. I mean, I really see those two things being intertwined, bro.
Yeah.
Because as the head of your household, I know women can be heads too. So, ladies, I get it. So if you are the head of the household, kudos to you, my beautiful ladies. But I'm speaking in my terms and Gonzalo's terms. If there was a female here, we would definitely listen to you. Okay, so just want to get that. Let's get that.
I'm
Let's get.
I'm a feminist personally.
Yeah. So we're not saying that dads are the heads of household, but for us, we are dads, right? And so
Yeah,
heads of
close.
our household, we have to lead in a manner that you can be proud of. 10, 15 years from now, bro. For me, the way I look in the future. When I do something with my son or so they I'm thinking to myself like they're gonna grow up, right? And they will remember and they're absorbing. So when they get to a critical mass and thinking, are they gonna say, Dad, why did you do that, man? Like why were you like this? How come you did this? Why didn't you do that? I can sit down and be like, okay, let's talk about it. I did actually think about it, and this is why. And then they'll be like, okay, that makes sense. But then if I have that conversation with them in the future and they ask me something, I'm like, holy crap. And I'm sure they'll challenge me on different things because I'm not gonna do everything perfectly, right? I can't think of everything. Nobody's perfect. But I look at it from the lens of, okay, in the future, when I make a decision right now, because everything we do is a decision, right? You decide to wake up, you decide to go do this, you decide to talk to your kid, your
Choices,
spouse this
choices.
way. Exactly. And so I want to look back when I'm having those conversations with them and be like, okay, yep, that was actually a pretty good. I can explain myself out of like anything they ask me critically and be like, this is why we did this. This is why we moved to Dallas. This is why we moved to the United States. Or this is why we moved to Phoenix. And so this is why we decided to take you here, or this is why this situation happened. And you can be like, okay, I was actually thinking about you in the future. And so that kind of leads me to even how we lead at work, man, and how you want to interact with people. Because people live in the moment, bro. It's like a mindset thing. Again, back to like just our psychology as human beings. We want to live in the moment. You don't want to like think too far out. But I think successful folks and leaders, not saying that we're the model, but we're doing pretty well for ourselves. So, we thank the good Lord and, we appreciate the decision we've made to get us here because we could have stumbled in many different ways. You want to be able to look in the future and say, hey, this dude, what do they want out of like this situation? Why are they even here today? How can I make their situation a little bit better? So I think for me, I really see fatherhood and leadership just like completely the same thing. And so, I mean, I often, for my teams, I'm like, man, I look at them as like my family, because that's like the easiest way for me to actually bond with them and treat them the right way, bro. So I mean, I can ask you again, last question for the day. How do you kind of do the leadership thing like with your family and then at work and like with your peers and in the field?
Yeah, no, I love what you said. I think another thing is, you know, you have to be your own leader, is what I would tell you. Even if you're
Mm,
by yourself, Malcolm X talked about this and he was like, as a person, you have to lead yourself because you have so many choices to make. So, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of character do you want to propose out there for people to see, to present, while you're out, so I believe, first of all, everybody is a leader, and you have to be a leader of yourself. And then obviously, however, people's household, however they want to run it, that's fine. There are things that men can do better and things that women can do better, et cetera, et cetera. But for me and my children, it's been very important for me, kind of the two are very intertwined because literally they're absorbing everything I do. The way I treat
Mhm.
people, the way I talk to myself. Actually, the other day, I'm in traffic, rolling around, somebody cut me off, and I'm like, "Lady, what are you doing?" And immediately my daughter goes, "Yeah, lady, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
geez." I was like, "Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
me too.
you know." So,
You
you
calm
throw a
down,
couple cuss
calm
words
down,
in
calm
there,
down.
yeah. You're like, "Ah, dang, okay, yeah." So it just shows you, it's like, dude, and that's a great honor. It's a lot of work, but it's a great honor,
Yes.
actually.
Yes,
Like, for
yes.
these people to be looking up at you like you're a superhero, bro, and they're trying to see like, "Oh, what's that doing? How is it? What is he saying?" You know what I mean? And then hopefully one day
Exactly.
you're a good enough man that when they come back home, they bring Lou 2.0, and I'm gonna be proud of that person instead of, running off the other way. So I think it's very
Mhm.
important. Perception is very important, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, this is a whole presentation, and even for the things that you wanna attract back into your life in the world, and I think these are conversations that people maybe are not having, but on a low level, they do understand that. But you might just could be stuck in a place and you're like, I don't care about my beard. I don't care about how I look, this and that, or what I said this. And I was like, yeah, you should care. You should
Mhm.
care because that's how you receive the energy that you need back to you, and
Absolutely.
like at work, I think people you have to show up as a leader in your own respect. You don't even have to be like in management, right? I think that if you could be a subject matter expert in something or a process or something, you know what I mean? Always make sure that you're adding some value in a way that you enjoy, right? Like
Absolutely.
something,
Yes.
you're like, hey, I'm great with public speaking. I'll take this project. Well, I'm great with analytics. Okay, I'm gonna go and work out this Excel sheet and come back and tell a story with it. Well, I'm
Mhm.
actually better at big picture things. That means you got to work closer with leadership, right? I'm great at finances, so I can propose some things and propose them. You know what I mean? It's gonna be good for your dopamine. It's gonna give you more confidence, and people are gonna realize like, okay, this person might not talk much, or et cetera, because we're all different personalities. We can't all,
Mhm.
right?
And it's beautiful.
Yes,
Mm.
and we all have a lot of value. Like, dude, don't ever let somebody tell you some bullshit about that. And that's why I think one of the most important things we are for these children, like we talked about, is giving them confidence, making them know that they can go and do what they want to do because we've all been created and we have value. If you look at the statistics of what the chances are for you to be born and then for you to be here and for us to have these lives that we're having, okay, it's abysmal. I mean, it's almost like a miracle. And for your ancestors to survive that long, the whole lineage all the way down, for you to be here today, it means that you're special because you know what
Mhm.
they survived through for your lineage to continue? It's not a joke. And somebody said the other day, like I told like, you mean my ancestors have survived for hundreds of thousands of years and they couldn't even pass me down a damn house? Not even a house, man. How about a couple $100? A
Got it,
millennium.
bro. Which is true, like, "Damn, what you guys been doing this whole time,
I'm
man?
like, damn,
Jeez."
man, pass something down, buddy.
That's funny.
But yeah, leadership is important, man. And I don't look at it like I used to when I was younger, where it's like, oh, you have to be the head of a department or whatever. I
Right, right,
think
right.
even
Yeah.
even just being out in the world,
Yep.
I know, no, but not everybody should do this. But yeah, but I think this is a good thing to stand by. When you go and you're grocery shopping and you got that trolley and you get to the car and you're like, man, I'm gonna leave this trolley over here. Let me tell you,
Oh,
man,
yeah, now you gotta take it back, bro.
take the trolley back.
That was my first job in this country. Take it back, bro. Come on now, man. In winter in Ohio, bro. Good lord.
Oh, rough, man.
Yeah, just take
I
it back,
bet.
bro, and
Yeah, take it back, man. Take it
it's like
back.
yeah, you're
You
getting
know,
some
it's
steps in, bro. It's good for your health.
yeah. It's gonna take you not even a minute.
Yep.
So just
Yep.
things like that. But then you feel good about yourself too. It's a weird thing, being selfless is also an act of being selfish because you end up doing things that end up making you feel good, but you're pouring good things
100%.
into the world. You know. Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
that's crazy because I think that actually, last point, bro, that's huge because I think for people like us, we get enjoyment from seeing other people winning and growing and other people happy, and then, you yourself, you're like, yes, like, this is fantastic. And that's why I think we make great leaders, man, as opposed to other folks like Elon and this other cats who they're doing it for they believe they're the messiahs, that
Yeah,
they believe that, what I do, what I need is right for the world, as opposed to thinking about what does the world actually need and that enjoyment. So, like, I think to your point, man, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And,
yeah.
shout out to Elon. He's done some great stuff. I'm not,
Yeah, yeah, no, you're not poo-pooing it, but it's a
yeah.
different way when you're serving from when you're leading from a serving standpoint, from
Yep.
being I'm doing it for notoriety, even though it's something important, you
Yep.
know. And I think that's
Yep.
why sometimes people feel there's so much friction because people feel like they're not valued, and
Dude,
it shouldn't be like that. I think, dude, the person that shines your shoes should be respected the same as the CEO of the company. Because I can guarantee you, some of these CEOs are doing way less than this guy that's busting his butt, that's making sure that company is running, right? The janitor, all these people. Be kind to people. You never know who's an angel. You never know what an act could lead to, especially those people who are out there in any jobs that are sales related, relationship based related in the finance world, financial advice, things like that. You just never know, It'd be that
for
guy with
sure.
those hoka shoes, right? Them damn bitches that got there.
Yeah, that thick souls. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Boy, I seen the boy, I said, hey man, why is he
They're big, bro.
it's huge? I bet they're comfortable though. I bet they're comfortable.
Good for nurses and all those guys on their feet 24/7,
I
man.
feel
So
like
yeah.
that's the new balance now, Kuya.
Yeah,
It's like
I get you.
the rich
Yeah.
dude that's just like, I'm like, oh, so you don't even care. You just needed to make sure your knees don't hurt.
Take my shins and stuff, bro,
You didn't care. Got that polo on, got some Hawaii shorts, and
That's
I'm like,
me
man, this
all
guy
day,
is
bro.
he's that's BDE really is what that is. You're like, I don't give a pizzak.
I love it. I love it. Man, brother, I think we ended there. It's been a nice chat, and hopefully the folks enjoy it. And again, if you made it this far, man, thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah, we
You
really
know,
appreciate it, and hopefully we continue to just drop more gems, give you guys what you didn't know you needed. I think that's the tagline now, bruh. It has organically created itself.
I like it. I like it. And you know what, Kuya? I wanted to ask the audience if they can leave some comments there. Just how do they decompress? What have they been through that was like
Sure.
tough, maybe just on their own? I'd love to just know because so many different people do different things, and sometimes somebody might have something different that I've never thought about that could help somebody else. Like some people are like fishing, and I'm like, fishing decompresses you. Like let me go see what's going on in the water. You never know. So that would be cool to know. And
Definitely.
blessings to everybody out there. We really appreciate you guys joining us. This is so much fun. And if you want to collab, let us know. You know what I'm saying? Or do it. Yeah, are we gonna stop on a positive note? I mean, we have, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it, but I'll do this one next time. I'll do some more research. But
Let's go. Let's go.
they um there've been 7 new cancers that are treatable now. They released all that information. I think it might be related to the ep files. You guys know the files we're talking about.
Mhm.
And since these pharmaceutical companies, which are related to all these other countries, have released like 7 different cures of cancers around the
That's
world.
amazing, bro.
It up, yeah. So that's an amazing thing for humanity, which means the things that we talk about that feel like conspiracy actually are happening. And like some of these pharmaceutical companies are withholding drugs that are
For the
good to
sake of
go to market.
humanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they want
Yeah.
you sick enough, just to keep going. Because yeah, the pharmaceutical company is crazy. And I'm in healthcare too, by the way. Man's gotta feed the kids, you know what I'm saying?
That's a perfect, perfect, perfect place to end, man. I mean, I love that. We'll definitely want to provide a little positivity to the world, and I think we just end it there because it's a perfect way. Guys, do some research. Let us know, what Lusala touched about, like the cancer drugs. Drop some comments in there, like Lusala said as well. Let us know how you guys decompress, get through tough times, and we're here to kind of chit chat. Again, you can join the pod. We could have a whole kumbaya of a podcast. We can have 60 people on this pod. So, definitely we welcome one and all. And we just want to have a good time with everybody and, bring positivity to the world, man.
Asanteni sana. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
All right, bro.